I'm going to start by saying that this was a widely publicized case, so a few details will be changed. But the main part of this is accurate. A few years ago, I worked at a popular hookah lounge in my town. We had many regulars, so, of course, I got to know many people, and made some lasting friendships with a few. Among those regulars was a group of people I wasn't terribly fond of, except one girl, Rachel. Rachel was a kind girl, who I enjoyed talking to. I just didn't approve of the people she hung out with, or the decisions that she made. But it was her life, so what place I had to say anything. Eventually, Rachel started dating another regular named Ben, who was a part of my friend group. This is when we got a lot closer, and she started to trust me and confide in me a little bit more. Eventually, Rachel and Ben broke up, and it devastated Rachel. I clearly remember her messaging me to hang out, and her crying on my shoulder for half an hour. During their relationship, Rachel stopped hanging out with the shady people as much, but of course, afterwards she went right back to them, and started partying a lot and doing who knows what. She stopped talking to me as much, and eventually started dating some other guy in the shady group named Greg. Of course, that relationship went south, due to reasons unknown to me. But Rachel ended up filing a restraining order against Greg. A few days later, Rachel went missing, and was never heard from again. It was awful. Her family started showing up to talk to me, asking if I'd seen her. I hadn't, but apparently someone told them that she had been seen downtown somewhere. It broke my heart. One day, during a busy shift, someone that we both talked to sometimes showed up and talked to me about Rachel's disappearance. His name is POS. POS told me he heard about her being seen somewhere, and wanted to know what I knew about it. He even asked me if I had heard if anything bad happened to her. I'm assuming he thought that since I worked at a regular hangout spot of hers, I'd hear something. I told him that I hadn't, and we hugged before he walked off to talk to other people. Months passed before I heard anything about Rachel. Her family showed up from time to time asking about her, but nothing changed. Around a year after her disappearance, the police had a breakthrough in her case, and her body was found. After some investigating, the police discovered that Greg had hired POS to kill Rachel, and he did. He hid her body and continued life as usual. The fact that I spoke to POS after the fact, and even hugged him, still weighs in my conscience. It's been years, and I'm still so upset about it. He's in prison, and I'll likely never see him again, but it still hurts. I spoke to her family about her, having hugged the man who killed her. I wish I had been a better friend to her. Maybe I could have saved her. I could have insisted that she not hang out with those people. I don't blame myself for her murder, but I do wish I could have done something. Had I been a more insistent friend, maybe she'd still be here. Who knows? All I know is that if for whatever reason I do see him again, it won't be a good thing for him. He knew that she was dead, and he still asked me if I had seen her or heard anything about her. So, POS, I hope you suffer. So a bit of backstory. I'm an 18-year-old female from the UK, and this happened in February 2019 when I was 17. I got set up on a semi-blind date by a mutual friend, and this guy we would call Cameron was 19. Now Cameron seemed like your average guy. Maybe a little into video games and anime and stuff, but overall, nothing my friend told me about him seemed off in any way. Our mutual friend gave us each other's numbers, and we texted for a night and decided to meet up at a Starbucks the next day since we were both free. I never like to meet new people this soon, but I figured since Cameron knew my friend, it couldn't possibly go wrong. How mistaken I was. I arrived slightly early, ordered my coffee, since I never like guys that feel like they have to buy for me, and parked on a seat facing away from the door and pulled out my book. I may be there for 15 minutes chilling out, and I get a text saying that he's here. So I'm like, great, I'm at X table. I feel a presence over my shoulder, and I turn my head slightly in acknowledgement. He must be here. Before I even get the chance to squeak out a hello, his lips latch onto my neck and he starts sucking on my neck. Now, I don't like people touching my neck at the best of times. I'm very ticklish, and I get super uncomfortable by people even touching my neck. The few times I've had massages or hair treatments, I've been holding in my discomfort, and he's latched into my neck like a leech. And this man smells horrendous. Kind of like dust personified. I freak out and elbow his chest to get him the heck off me. He lets go and looks at me with this weird expression on his face and laughs in deadpan. It's really, really creepy, and I start to become alarmed. I asked him what the heck was that, and he just says, I thought it was cute. Cute? In what world? I try to have a conversation. I'm like, okay, first impressions don't mean anything. Let's try and give him a chance. But he's just creepily staring at my chest. He says, wow, I didn't know Asians can have boobs like those. I better not let you go. That's a direct quote. I can't make this up. I'm distinctly uncomfortable, but I just don't want to run away. He's giving me really weird vibes. So I go to the ladies' room and wait for someone else to come in. I ask her to help me get out undetected. I don't want this man following me home or something like that. She of course agrees and lends me her hat and scarf. It is February in the UK after all. And we come out of the bathroom together, and she manages to help sneak out the back door to Starbucks without him noticing me. He asked my friends where I went, but I told my friend to never mention me again. I was too terrified. I know that I probably didn't behave well. I should have told him that I was just leaving, but I was honestly just scared. Dear guy who decided it was appropriate to suck my neck before we even said hello, let's not meet again. Hey guys, so what I'm telling you happened around 4 months ago, and I'm a 14-year-old male. We have a Bernese mountain dog named Ava, who is 2, and weighs about 120 pounds, so she's very big. She's a quiet and lazy dog, but also seems to be alert at all times. So, one night my parents went out for dinner, and left me at home with Ava. I was downstairs watching TV, and my lounge is right next to the front door. Around 8 p.m., the door rang, and I opened it to see a guy in fairly plain clothes standing there, and he told me that he had a delivery here. I was confused, because he didn't look like a delivery driver, and he didn't have a parcel. Suddenly, I turn my head and see another guy around the side of my driveway, which goes to our back door, and he starts to walk towards the back door. I freak out, and the guy at the door notices this, and barges through shouting for the other guy. This is when Ava wakes up, and begins to let out the loudest bark I've ever heard, making the guy stumble back. She ran towards him, and jumped up, grabbing his shoulder and literally throwing him out the door. His buddy came along and saw Ava, and started to run. The other guy managed to slip out of Ava's grip, and run down the road. I managed to get Ava to stay, so I didn't lose her, and they got away. I was so shook up that I rang my parents, and then the police and gave them a statement. Safe to say, Ava got plenty of treats from then on, and I always kept her nearby when I'm on my own.